We are going to present you with some tips and methods and give you some information about something very important in China whenever you want to do open source intelligence research, investigations, activities, and gather information from Chinese resources, searching the Chinese internet and doing OSINT in China. You want to understand linguistics, right? And when I say linguistics, when talking about linguistics and barriers that most OSINT professionals from the West are facing challenges with is not only searching information, but also understanding it, right? So when you found something, what do you do with that information? How do you understand the context of that information? How do you understand the communication forms that were used? For instance, if you identify chatter, discussions, there are a lot of unique elements in linguistics unique to China. Understanding how the Chinese communicate in any kind of resource. So, for example, if I was looking into politics or if I was looking into a completely different topic, such as the hacker ecosystem, right? So each level or kind of layer of specific domain has its own unique communication forms, has its own unique areas that reflect and describe specific things, right? So I can use numbers, I can use emojis, I can use stickers, and a lot of other different things in linguistics. So how do these things affect our identification of threat data and really our abilities to successfully find and understand what exactly it is that we're looking at? So numbers are widely used in communication in China, specifically in domains, nicknames, emojis, and stickers, and really all forms of communication. And this is exactly what makes the identification of data and understanding the context of it for open source intelligence more challenging, especially for non-experienced Western investigators. So here we have just an example of numbers, and we're going to deep dive into them in a second. So slang words that use numbers are often called numerical homophones or number wordplay. So in this method, you have numbers that are used that sound like other Chinese words or phrases, so creating kind of like a symbolic meaning behind it, right? So as you can see in these two images, you can take a moment to translate these if you'd like. This form of communication is not new. It's been around for a while, and it is very much present in all languages and cultures. So just like we have in English, just like we have in English in the hacker ecosystem, or really in any other language. But in China, it is very prominent factor to communication and how it impacts your abilities as a Western investigator to not only find the information, but also to understand it and to really know how to pivot from it further, because searching for information is one skill, understanding the context of what you found is another, and learning to pivot from it is another skill. And all together is what makes someone successful at navigating China's landscape. So, Western OSINT practitioners in China often ask questions like, how do I know what the numbers mean? Or other forms of communication. How can I really decipher the true meaning and context of the identified so-called threat or data? How do numbers impact the identification process of new resources for open source intelligence? So, specifically things like finding new information, new sources, let's say pivoting and doing source development, right? Source dev. In which cases would it be relevant to understand numbers, and especially for open source intelligence? When I see numbers, and where will I see numbers, right? This is also very important to understand. And what are numbers used for? So in some aspects, in some situations, you will see that numbers are actually used to bypass the identification process and make it more difficult, not only for Westerners, I think especially for Westerners, but also for Chinese authorities over the internet. So regulating freedom of speech, regulating, let's say, discussions about government, discussions about political topics, and so on and so forth. So making it really more challenging. Let's understand where numbers can be seen, right? And in which context. So in the context of political slang and numbers, you would very much have a lot of discussions, videos, chatter about politics generally, with slang and numbers. So that is very much present in the entire hacker ecosystem. That is literally in every single kind of layer of communication, in domain names, nicknames, um, groups, and so on and so forth. And for this, we have a case scenario that we will see some screenshots of. And of course, internet communication, generally the kind of everyday OSINT things that you would look into. So you will see a lot of numbers there as well. When we talk about where would you most often see numbers, so in terms of resources, right? So the types of resources, so looking into domestic social networks, in the Douyin example, so we have, as you can see, some instances right here, and this is very much on the high level. So of course, to each network, to each platform, it may be different. It may, of course, vary on what you are looking for, right? So what type of data you're after, what type of data you're looking into, and or topic specifically. Okay. Topic specific forums. So another resource type. So let's say, let's give an example, hacker forums. If I'm looking into hacker ecosystem, politics forums, blogs, boards, right? So just as an example to give you some ideas. Western communication channels, very much true as well. So we have things like Discord and Telegram in the context of hacking related topics. So you will see a lot of stickers, emojis, and generally just text-based communication with numbers. So all of these are just some high-level examples. And then let's dig deeper a little bit and see kind of a case study of how this looks like in practice. So in the hacking context, right, if you are a cyber threat intelligence practitioner and you really want to develop your skills further and to maximize your abilities and your team's abilities to navigate China's hacker threat landscape like a true professional, so you need to understand the linguistics also play a really big role. And it's not only the infrastructure, it's a lot of different layers to linguistics as well. So the language itself, the for identification, so we have the pinyin, for instance, we have numbers and other forms of communication. So one of these kind of drop in the ocean examples, right, is looking for hacker resources. So in Chinese, if we were to look for hacker, we could do it in multiple ways, but just the most basic one, we would be looking for this keyword right here. Now, this keyword is the pinyin representation of hacker word in Chinese. Right? So just as an example, so if I were to pair the word hacker, which by the way, a lot of Chinese hackers, this is something that a lot of CTI professionals may not know, is that using Pinyin to be, to enrich your threat identification abilities and to maximize your identification abilities in that particular ecosystem is going to help you a lot by using Pinyin plus numbers. Because as you can see right here, we have identified some accounts, for instance, on Telegram, just as an example, and Telegram search for Pinyin hacker, which is right here, plus common numbers. There are very specific numbers that are used for communication or for identifying something, for describing something, and unique to Chinese ecosystem. So like a 666, 8423, and you can see these really across all kinds of findings. Next is we have usernames, so such as email accounts that are very, very much using a lot of numbers in their in their activities, in their, discussions, chatter, and you can see that very prominently in China. So just as we have here, or another very high level example of domain names. So this is extremely, extremely popular kind of practice in China, is that you have a lot of domain names, not only in the hacker ecosystem, but really a lot of domain names that will have numbers, or some domain names will just have numbers. So it kind of makes it more difficult to be able to identify that in the context of threat data or open source intelligence. So just something that you can, practice and see for yourself, and you can apply these methods to maximize your abilities and to a little bit easier navigate using this lesson, this very short video, to navigate the identification research of data on really all levels of China's internet. So these were just some high-level examples that you can apply using these methods that were explained here into your own investigations in China. However, if you really want to excel and really master OSINT, open source intelligence in China's internet, so go ahead to our website, epcyber.com, and you will have the link in the description. And you can check out our Advanced China OSINT course, where we cover really everything from A to Z on giving you the abilities to comfortably and confidently search, find, bypass, and access anything in China's internet. So that would be all for this video. I hope you took a thing or two from this. All right, so that would be everything for this video. Thank you very much for watching. Have a great day. Bye-bye.